How would you compare today on the grounds to any other day in your career?
This was huge. I mean, everyone running around, so many different aspects to this story that we still don't even know. There's 100,000 questions. I started my day this morning at an RBC event, an off-site event, and there was a number of top players, including Rory McIlroy was there. He found out by looking at his phone. You know, he was sitting there, and I can't imagine what was going through his head. And then you came back here, and the players everyone's asking questions. No one knows what's going on. It was a bizarre day, a really, really bizarre day, and nobody, unfortunately, talked about the RBC Canadian Open.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of further details to what it actually means for all of this, Bob, as far as the players and who's going to do what and what can live players do? Because we were informed earlier that this doesn't necessarily mean that live players can just go jump and play a PGA Tour event whenever they want. Like, can you explain any of that?
So Jay Monahan just met with the press. He had a conference that I was on, a virtual conference that he came on, and he said basically what they have now is only a framework. They have a very basic framework. They don't even know what next year is going to look like. They don't know.
So this says nothing's changing this year.
Nothing's changing this year. Everything, both leagues will play out to the end of this season. They'll retool in the new year and start again. We don't know. I kind of got the impression from listening to Jay Monahan that live might not live on in its present form. He talked about evaluating team golf. And there's also sort of a how do the live players get back onto the PGA Tour. He said they'll have to pay a fine. It'll vary between how long they were and how much money they got. And there also might be an equalization for guys like Rory or Tiger who turned down huge sums of money to go over there to be loyal to the PGA Tour. But really, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be asked.
How do the players get by the fact that this guy that this all happened without them knowing anything about it? Like, how are they ever, like we were talking about Jay Monahan, he must have had something in his deal where it's like, I'll go ahead and merge with you guys, but you better protect me because these guys are going to hate my guts after this.
Probably. And there was a player meeting at 4 o'clock today, and I've been told by a number of players it was heated. And at one point, one of the players stood up and talked about a change of leadership, and there was a standing ovation in that room. So these players are very hot right now, and they don't know. They don't have any answers. That's the other problem, is they don't know what's going on. Why did it have to be kept secret? Well, I was also told that the negotiations with the PIF, the Saudi League fund, said that if any of this gets out before we have a framework, we're out of here. So they had to keep it.
Well, that's how deals get done. You get all the players' voices involved. The deal never gets done.
Right, both sides, though,
Exactly.
right? That includes
That's
live
right.
players.
Well,
and Greg Norman.
Greg Norman found out 2 minutes before the press release went out. So that was probably the last 2 minutes of his career with live golf,
Right.
I would think.
Well, and that's why.
That kind of sucks for him, man.
Absolutely, but I would also suggest if Jay Monahan's sitting here saying, okay, I'm good with the Saudis or whoever, they don't care about Jay Monahan, right? Just like they clearly today don't care about Greg Norman.
Right.
Once their foot is in the door, they don't care.
No.
Like they just want to get in. They want to be a part of the process.
They can make all those changes once they've got a lock on it.
Right.
But it's clear that cash kind of just makes things, Greg Norman made a fortune go away type of thing. Like that might be the case with Monahan. Like, oh, you're involved in this deal. You're gone too because they want you out. Here's your severance and gone. Like,
But there's got to be a payoff for that, though.
Right. The overarching thing is there's money involved, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing for, if I was one of the players out there, I'd say, okay, I think I'm going to make more money. I think the purses are going to be bigger. I think there's going to be just so much more. And Graham Dillette up on our hit that we just did said, there's two types of players. That are some that are just so angry, and then there's others who just say, well, yeah, okay, tell me how much the purse is going to be next year.
Right. Just going to keep playing.
Yeah.
Right. Like we've noticed that today during the meeting, there were still guys out here playing.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't care about the meeting. I'll find out later.
Right.
We get Cole's notes. I got to learn Oakdale.
I had one pro text me. He says, I'm not going there because I don't want to have to listen to that liar.
Right.
So there's some harsh stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's like I'm trying to figure out the possible winners and losers here. And I'm guessing Mickelson, Koepka, like they'll be the ones gloating, assuming they feel like they can get back into the world of golf, get back into the PGA Tour. But that is what is going to be intriguing in terms of some of the bigger names and the louder voices in golf who have been adamant, including Jack Nicklaus recently, who said, never come back. You should never be allowed back.
Yeah, he said Liv's not even a part of golf anymore.
Right.
That's right.
And now what? Now they are back? I mean, it doesn't – I guess Jack doesn't have the all empowering vote, but still, it's a loud voice.
I still think there's going to be some pretty harsh relationships no matter where these guys play. I mean, if it's just 4 times a year at the majors, or if it's one big league again, these guys are not going to forget this kind of stuff very much.
The one comment that Monahan's going to get grilled on, and someone's going to interview him and play it, is when Jimmy Nance interviewed him at the Canadian Open last year, and the 9/11 stuff was brought up, and he claimed to get all emotional and talk about that. He's going to have to chew on that and somehow circle around it and find a way to comment on it.
He got asked that in the press conference today, and he just said, it's a different conversation we're having now. With times have changed, it's a different time for this conversation, and he was dancing pretty well.
Ridiculous.
And if I was one of the
that's just a blatant. That's just him lying. He understands. He's screwed. He's like, I'm screwed. I made those comments. I was on a moral high ground at that point, and now I'm not. And that's basically what else is he going to do?
That's it. He's got to dance. He was dancing well.
There's no PR spin on that.
No.
That's really what it is. He's got to chew on it, but I think in their minds it's like, okay, we'll get through the bad PR. We'll get through all of this, and ultimately when you come out the other end, you're still going to be golf and everyone's involved, and there's a lot more money involved.
Exactly. I mean, the Saudis have $650 billion in their PIF, so I don't think they have to worry too much.